In the nutrient pool, a bald man suddenly sat up. Startled, he mustered all his strength to pull out the tube from his mouth. Taking his first breath in life, his entire body was covered with catheters. Even the back of his head was not spared. Neo was about to pull them out when he witnessed an unbelievable sight. All around him, countless people like him were immersed in nutrient pools, row after row, endless, as if the entire space was a human farm. Neo was overcome with extreme fear, his sanity teetering on the edge of collapse. At that moment, a mechanical beetle arrived to carry out its programmed cleaning task. It clamped Neo by the neck, lifted him up, and after confirming the human had truly awakened, the beetle twisted the plug at the back of his head and pulled it out. As the main interface fell off, all other catheters detached automatically. Then, like discarding trash, it dumped Neo through the drainage pipe of the nutrient pool. After passing through a long sewer, Neo landed in a wastewater tank. Just as he was about to drown, a spaceship quietly appeared, extending a mechanical arm to pull him back from the brink of death. Morpheus and his team had finally found Neo's physical body, but due to long-term immersion in the nutrient pool, Neo's muscles had atrophied. Doctors had to insert thin needles into his nerve nodes, using microelectric stimulation to gradually activate his numb muscles. After a day and night of treatment, Neo's body finally recovered, but the scars of being enslaved by machines would never fade. Neo knew he could never return to the world he once knew. Originally, Neo was just an ordinary engineer, busy day after day in his cubicle. Everything changed when he received that phone call. The man on the other end, calling himself Morpheus, told Neo that danger was imminent. Neo slowly looked up and indeed saw a group of black-clad men staring at him. Though he thought of running, he was in a high-rise building, and the only escape route was like a cliff, better to let the black-clad men take him away. Neo tried to borrow Smith's phone to make a call, but the man, annoyed by the noise, sealed his mouth shut. This bizarre scene filled Neo with terror. How could an ordinary person do that? Smith just smiled smugly. Worse was to come. He pulled a small device from his pocket. Upon contact with air, it transformed, eventually hatching into a mechanical bug. Smith placed it on Neo's stomach, and after wriggling around, the bug burrowed into his belly button. The pain jolted Neo awake. He couldn't tell if what had just happened was a dream or reality. Neo checked himself carefully and sighed with relief. It had just been a dream, but soon he would learn. None of it was a dream. The phone rang again late at night. This time, Morpheus's words were even more outrageous. He said he'd spent his whole life searching for Neo, who was the savior of his world. Curious to find out what the man was up to, Neo decided to meet him, but the one who came to pick him up was a short-haired woman, Trinity, Morpheus's assistant, a highly skilled hacker. She and Neo would forge a bond of life and death in the chaotic future. As soon as Neo got in the car, he was told to take off his shirt. Threatened by high-tech, he complied. Trinity held a machine to his belly button and told him he was being monitored. As the machine powered on, it located the mechanical bug inside Neo. Trinity quickly operated the device to suck it out. Neo was stunned. The black-clad man really had implanted a bug, a listening device, as Trinity called it. Clearly, the black-clad men's target wasn't Neo, but Morpheus on the other end of his calls. Fortunately, they discovered it in time. Soon, the group arrived at an old mansion, where the man Neo wanted to meet waited behind a door. As the door opened, Morpheus's true face was revealed. Morpheus could barely contain his excitement upon seeing Neo. Yet Neo fidgeted. This man exuded overwhelming presence, and his next words were even more confusing.
Bir köle olduğunun gerçeği Neo. Sen de herkes gibi köle doğdun. Dokunamadığın, tadamadığın ya da koklayamadığın bir hapishanedesin.
Morpheus continued, "This prison is the Matrix." Neo knew the term. Days earlier, his computer had been hacked, with a cryptic message, "The Matrix is enslaving you." Back then, Neo had looked just as confused as he did now, but the Matrix couldn't be explained in a few words. Neo had to see it for himself. Morpheus pulled out two pills, one red, one blue, like the two hands of fate. The blue pill meant compromise, remaining asleep in the Matrix. The red meant waking up, uncovering the Matrix's truth. Morpheus warned Neo the choice was irreversible. He must choose carefully. After hesitation, Neo took the red pill. He wanted the truth, even if it upended everything. Morpheus smiled. He'd been right about Neo. He led Neo to another room filled with equipment, like a monitoring command center. Technicians began working on Neo. As Morpheus explained, the red pill was actually a tracking program, pinpointing Neo's physical location. Tricked for the first time, Neo felt fear, but then he saw something even scarier. A broken mirror was restoring itself. reflecting his face. Neo reached out to touch it. His finger passed through and got coated with a silver liquid. It spread across his body, making it hard to breathe. Just as Neo was about to be consumed, technicians finally located his physical body, but the truth Neo was about to learn would truly break him. Once, Morpheus had been like Neo, trapped in a nutrient pool until the first awakened person told him the world's truth. Now he would tell Neo, this was the real world, but not the 1999 Neo knew. It was around 2199. No sunlight or freedom, just endless darkness and barren wastelands. It all began in the 22nd century, humanity's fastest era of progress, and its fall. An extraordinary consciousness sparked a race's awakening. They built a base in the desert. That race? Artificial intelligence, created by humans. Humans grew threatened, fear took root, and war erupted. Ironically, humans, once dependent on AI, declared war on it. To win, they polluted the environment, blackening the sky to destroy solar-powered machines. But humanity reaped what it sowed. Morpheus sighed at fate's cruelty. Machines soon discovered human bioelectricity far exceeded batteries. Harnessing it would sustain them, so they began farming humans like crops. Dead humans were liquefied, fed intravenously to the living, maintaining the farm's cycle. To control humans and crush rebellion, machines created the Matrix, a perfect dream, making everyone think they were free. Like the infinite Tsukuyomi, that was the Matrix's nature, the world's truth. Neo felt emptied. He couldn't fathom his life as a mere battery, his worldview shattered. Morpheus understood he'd been there, but until the Matrix fell, humanity would never be free. He and other awakened ones fought for this goal, but the war needed a variable, a key to break the Matrix. Morpheus was certain that key was Neo. Neo never imagined his ordinary self was so vital in reality. With no way back, he joined Morpheus's rebellion. To help Neo grasp the Matrix's operation, Morpheus inserted a data tube into the port at the back of his head. As operators pressed a button, Neo's consciousness was transported to a virtual world. This was the Matrix's simulation chamber. Here, operators' commands could create anything, switch scenes. This was how machines controlled the Matrix. But in the Matrix, one must stay vigilant for agents, hunters of the awakened. They were antivirus programs, no physical form, existing in code, borrowing sleeping humans' bodies. A mailman one moment, death the next. As system programs, agents had superhuman strength and speed. The awakened who fought them fared badly. Agent Smith, cunning and dangerous, would become Neo's greatest foe. To boost Neo's combat skills, Operator Tank uploaded martial arts, judo, tai chi, Chinese kung fu directly into his brain, like assigning game character skills. It was simple and efficient. Incredibly, while most maxed out at an hour, Neo trained for 10 like a learning machine, but theory was the foundation. Actual combat mattered. Morpheus launched a training program, facing Neo in a Chinese dojo, black versus white. Like yin and yang, every punch and kick was solid, crisp. Neo attacked fiercely, matching Morpheus blow for blow, but Morpheus noticed Neo's moves were too rigid, relying on programmed actions, no rhythm of his own. He could fight, but wasn't a true warrior. Training intensified. Morpheus pressed harder, faster, deadlier. Neo grew tired. Morpheus advised, "You don't need to breathe." Neo realized he was just code. No need to breathe. With this, he sped up, amazing the team. No awakened one had ever pushed Morpheus this hard. Neo moved so fast he left afterimages, overwhelming Morpheus. With Neo ready, Morpheus had Tank activate the jumping program. The scene shifted, the training ground vanished, replaced by a gray virtual city. Morpheus told Neo to free his mind. Remember, the world was fake. He leaped, landing on the opposite building. Seeing it look easy, Neo tried. The team watched. No one had succeeded on the first try. 3 minutes later, Neo failed. Waking in reality, he found blood in his mouth. Confused, wasn't the Matrix virtual? Why was his body hurt? Morpheus explained, the Matrix's sensations were processed by the brain. If you believe it's real, it is. Neo must be careful, die in the Matrix, and his body would lose consciousness, perish. This wasn't a game, it was a fight for life. Now ready to fight the machines, it was time to meet the Oracle in the Matrix, the only one who could guide Neo. As Tank worked, a phone rang in the Matrix, a tool to shuttle between reality and virtuality. They reached their destination, unaware someone had betrayed them. A day earlier, he'd snuck into the Matrix, begging Agent Smith to return his body to the farm. He wanted the Matrix's comfort, even as a battery, so during the mission, he deliberately dropped his phone in a trash can, exposing their location. Unaware, the team proceeded, arriving at the Oracle's apartment, filled with gifted children. One child bent a spoon with his mind. Curious, Neo asked. The child explained, "Bending the spoon is impossible, so you must change yourself, alter your perception of the spoon." These words were a revelation. If the Matrix was just code, what could change was one's perception of the world. This planted the seed for Neo to break the Matrix's rules later. Soon, Neo met the Oracle, who'd never been wrong. She told him not to worry about the vase, and as Neo turned, confused, he knocked it over, shattering it. After witnessing the Oracle's true power, Neo was eager to know if he was indeed the savior Morpheus spoke of. The Oracle didn't answer directly. Instead, she said he would know when he was reborn. After leaving the Oracle, Neo was preoccupied, fearing he might let Morpheus down, but the test came soon. As the group prepared to return to reality, a black cat caught Neo's attention. The same cat walked out from the same spot again. Everyone instantly realized something was wrong. This was a glitch that occurred when the virtual world was modified. In the real world, Tank, who was in charge of coordinating the pickup, also sensed anomalies. Clearly, the agents had found their location. They cut the phone lines, blocking the group's path back to reality. By then, a separated team member was already surrounded by police officers. Since the Matrix was created by machines, the police inside naturally served them. Their goal was to eliminate all awakened humans who opposed the machines. When he was shot dead in the Matrix, his real body died on the spot. But Morpheus, the leader, had no time to care. Enemies had stormed the building, searching floor by floor. In desperation, Morpheus led the others to escape through the utility shaft. As they inched downward, Morpheus accidentally stepped on gravel. The faint sound was immediately detected by the police, and a fierce gunfight broke out. Hearing the commotion, Smith immediately possessed a police officer and grabbed Neo. Fearing the savior would be taken away, Morpheus chose to use his own body to hold the agent back, ordering the others to take Neo and flee at once. Protecting the savior was the top priority, so Trinity had no choice but to obey. But when they finally reached another phone transmission point, the ringing phone suddenly went dead. Trinity quickly called Tank back, but the one who answered was Cypher. He bluntly stated that he had killed Tank. It turned out that while Trinity and the others were fleeing, Cypher had lied about getting separated in a car accident, asking Tank to bring him back to reality first. Tank didn't suspect a thing and complied immediately, yet the first thing Cypher did upon waking was grab a weapon and attack Tank. He admitted he'd long grown tired of the harshness of the real world and fed up with Morpheus's endless preaching. He'd rather live a self-deceptive life in the Matrix than hide in this filthy real world any longer. Trinity tried to persuade Cypher to turn back, but he was beyond redemption. He pulled out a team member's plug to show his stance. The member, whose consciousness was severed from his body, died instantly. Now, Cypher held everyone's lives in his hands. He could do as he pleased. Another team member fell soon after. Cypher said it was Neo's turn next. Trinity was desperate, but could only watch helplessly as Neo faced danger. At the critical moment, Tank struggled to his feet, enduring severe pain, and retaliated against Cypher with all his pent-up anger and grievances. Miracle had indeed favored Neo. Later, he and Trinity returned to the real world together. The mission had taken a heavy toll. Only 3 of them remained at the base. Morpheus's situation was also grim. As an ordinary human, he was no match for the agent, who took him down in a few moves. The agent then injected a special drug into Morpheus, attempting to invade his consciousness and extract the awakened human's secrets. If that happened, all awakened humans would be doomed. How soon the invasion succeeded depended on Morpheus's willpower. While waiting, Smith kept brainwashing him. He said humans were like viruses. They invaded a place, multiplied until all resources were exhausted, then moved on to spread and multiply elsewhere. By the time Smith was almost done talking, Morpheus was barely holding on. Seeing this, the agent outright confessed his true motive. He'd long grown tired of the Matrix. He didn't want to stay with these stinking humans any longer, nor obey the system's orders. The key to escaping the Matrix lay with Morpheus, for Morpheus knew the key to unlock the Matrix. Meanwhile, to prevent the secrets from leaking, Tank decided to pull out Morpheus's plug. It was the only way. Just as Tank was about to act, Neo suddenly shouted to stop him. He remembered the Oracle's prophecy: one of Morpheus or Neo would die, and the choice was his. Neo felt Morpheus had trusted the wrong person. He wasn't the savior. Compared to someone like Morpheus, He was insignificant, so he decided to risk his life to rescue Morpheus. Trinity would never stand by. She insisted on going with Neo. Tank remained in charge of wiring and providing equipment. Neo said they needed two things, a miracle, and guns, lots of them. With Tank's operation, thousands of firearms materialized from the program space. Everything ready, the two set out. Neo was responsible for bringing the equipment into the building where Morpheus was held. As he passed through security, the indicators blared wildly, facing the intercepting police. Neo didn't panic, he showed off his full gear. The police muttered they'd never seen such arrogance. Neo sneered, "I can be more arrogant." Neo moved so fast no one could track him. Soon, Trinity arrived to back him up. It had to be said they looked awesome, and their combat power matched their looks off the charts. With Neo and Trinity's seamless coordination, the police on the first floor were quickly taken down, and the building was nearly torn apart. But tearing it apart was their plan. They stopped the elevator on the top floor, took out bombs from a box, set them to detonate in 30 seconds, then climbed into the elevator shaft. Once ready, Neo shot the elevator cable. The elevator plummeted like a disconnected kite, while Neo and Trinity were flung upward by the steel rope. As the elevator hit the first floor, an explosion sent smoke and debris soaring. Sensing something was wrong, Smith immediately ordered the elimination of Neo and Trinity. A pilot had just received the order when his body began to twist and contort, finally overtaken by the agent. The agent rushed to the scene just as the two finished a brief firefight. Neo sensed danger, turned, and fired. But even with an empty magazine, he couldn't scratch the agent. After all, the agent was a program with built-in advantages in the Matrix. Neo panicked, but the agent gave him no time to react, raising his gun to shoot. Unexpectedly, Neo's body seemed to defy gravity, twisting in slow motion to dodge the bullets. Yet it was his first time dodging bullets, and his skill was unpolished. He was grazed and fell. Before he could stand, the agent was already in front of him. Luckily, Trinity was there. Her shot was satisfying, but it hit the possessed pilot. The agent had already returned unharmed to his accomplices. With him came Neo and Trinity, who'd hijacked a helicopter. Neo didn't hesitate, opening fire with a Gatling gun. His eyes were fiercely determined. He was going to take these bastards down. Bullets poured down like a downpour. Even agents couldn't fight back, forced to flee in a blur. Soon, only Morpheus remained in the room. It had to be said he was lucky. Neo's wild shooting hadn't hurt him. Regaining consciousness, Morpheus broke free and ran toward the helicopter. But just then, three agents returned. Smith drew his gun and fired. A bullet hit Morpheus's calf. He gritted through the pain and leaped forward. At the critical moment, Neo jumped out, grabbing him tightly. Trinity quickly steered the helicopter, ready to escape with them, but Smith fired 2 shots into the fuel tank. Seeing the system warning, Trinity's face paled. She aimed for the nearest floor. Neo understood instantly, handing Morpheus down before jumping to the floor himself. The helicopter, now out of control, crashed into the building. Neo didn't hesitate, gripping the safety rope tightly, trying to pull Trinity up. Trinity reacted fast, grabbing the other end of the rope and jumping out of the helicopter. With Neo's persistence, she was finally saved. Neo and Trinity locked eyes. No words needed, but everything was said. But there was no time for tenderness. They needed to return to reality. Thankfully, Tank had prepared. The exit was in a phone booth in the subway station. The phone rang on time. They let the injured Morpheus go first. The strange scene made a nearby beggar doubt his eyes. Soon, the second ring came. As Trinity answered, the agent possessed the beggar. He fired immediately, but Trinity narrowly escaped. Now, Neo was left to fight alone, facing such a powerful opponent. Neo didn't choose to flee. He knew someone had to challenge the agent. They drew their guns almost simultaneously, dodging and attacking. They even danced a waltz in midair before landing. Then they tossed aside their guns, ready for a true man's duel. Smith was slightly stronger, but Neo was faster. He kicked Smith's sunglasses off in one swift move. Smith took off the broken shades. Realizing this man was no trivial foe, he'd have to get serious. Under Smith's powerful blows, Neo was soon coughing up blood. Neo quickly regrouped, deciding to use Chinese Kung Fu. The blend of hardness and softness worked. Smith was forced back repeatedly, but as a Matrix system program, Smith wasn't easy to defeat. He pummeled Neo with a flurry of punches, then lifted and threw him onto the subway tracks. Watching the approaching train, Smith sneered the screech of metal on tracks would be Neo's death knell. But Smith underestimated Neo's tenacity. Even at the last moment, he wouldn't give up. He pushed hard, breaking free from Smith's grip, then jumped onto the platform. leaving Smith stunned. Neo thought he could catch his breath, but as he prepared to leave, a harsh breaking sound echoed from the tracks. The doors opened, and the relentless agent emerged, fully revived. Neo knew this guy was unkillable in the Matrix. Rather than wasting time, he should return to reality. Fleeing, Neo grabbed a phone, contacted Tank, and learned another transmission channel was in room 303. But 3 agents, using their possession ability, quickly caught up. The situation grew more urgent, and time was running out. In the real world, the machine's sentinel squids had found the team's location. They'd arrive in 5 or 6 minutes. The only defense was the EMP weapon, which paralyzes all electronic systems in its blast range. But activating it now would kill Neo, as the power would cut out. The team had to gamble hoping Neo was faster. Meanwhile, Neo, still fleeing in the Matrix, didn't stop for a second. He crawled into the apartment, heading straight for room 303. The ringing phone in the hallway sounded like a countdown to fate. At the same time, the sentinel squids reached the base. They burned through the base's outer shell with lasers and burrowed inside. The others, sensing danger, prayed Neo would hurry. But when Neo finally found the room, Smith was already waiting. Smith gave him no chance to escape. Pulling the trigger, with the last bullet fired, Neo collapsed. In the real world, his heart stopped beating. The team couldn't believe that the savior was gone. Grief made them overlook the Sentinel's attack. Laser after laser tore through the base, but Trinity refused to give up. She'd long wanted to tell Neo the Oracle's prophecy about her, but feared speaking it would change everything. Now, she no longer hesitated. The Oracle had said Trinity would fall in love with a man, and that man was the savior. As Trinity kissed him, a miracle happened. Many wonder why Neo was resurrected. I think 2 reasons. First, the power of Trinity's love, a force beyond the Matrix's rules, a human emotion no program could calculate. Second, Neo's breakthrough in self-awareness. His consciousness broke free from the Matrix's constraints. Though he died in the virtual world, it was still virtual. His real body was alive all along. This confirmed the Oracle's words. When Neo was reborn, he truly became the savior. Now, Neo was convinced he was the variable to break the cage, a god beyond programs. This belief unlocked his potential. Facing bullets fired by 3 agents in succession, Neo merely raised his hand, stopping them mid-air. Time seemed to freeze. When Neo looked up again, the entire world became flowing code. He'd finally grasped the Matrix's essence, nothing but numbers made of zeros and ones. No matter how Smith attacked, Neo countered with ease, even calmly sipping tea with one hand while defending with the other. Then Neo sped into Smith's body, wreaking havoc inside, detonating the code core. In the end, Neo successfully uninstalled Smith. This battle made him look infinitely cool. Afterward, Neo rushed back to reality. Seeing him return safely, Morpheus didn't hesitate. He activated the EMP. A burst of white-hot arcs spread instantly. The sentinel squids, as if their power was cut, paralyzed and fell in droves. Though Neo finally revealed the Matrix's truth to the world, he knew there was a long road ahead to free humans from the Matrix's cage. After all, how many would choose to return to a harsh reality after living in a comfortable illusion? And so, the movie ends here. I'm a movie enthusiast. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.